Hello and welcome back, or welcome to the Riley Brakefield Show. I am your host, Riley Brakefield. And this is a show where we talk about sports, gambling, and pretty much whatever else is going on in the world and whatever comes to my big brain, whatever I feel I need to talk about. So yeah, if that's something you're into, make sure to stick around, check out other episodes. But you always want to stay up to date because for the most part, I am talking gambling advice, talking about college sports mostly, pro sports, NFL here and there. I am currently watching this Bengals Bills game. Currently at the point here where Damar Hamlin had that scary hit. Can't really tell what's going on. Obviously, I have the game on mute here, but kind of seeing the Bills players in distress kind of worries me. I hope everything's all right. Kind of a weird situation there where he gets the tackle, gets up, and then just faints immediately and hits his head like that. It's kind of scary look. Hope that he's okay. So hopefully there's some good news that comes out of that. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anything. If you want it, you got it. I'm there. Riley Brakefield is most of my names on the internet and on the social medias, on the internet, as I like to say, like an old man. But today's show gonna be hitting some news. Top five, my top five worst type of dudes. Also, college football playoff recap, college basketball game recap. Other bowl game recap here. Then a couple college basketball games I'm looking at this week that should be good, and then a couple NFL thoughts to close out the show here. So, like I said, currently I am watching this Bills Bengals game. There is actually a lot on the line in this game. The one spot is at hand here. The Bills, they're one game behind only because they haven't played yet. Both these teams do have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs, so each of them could win it and have that one spot and be able to take over the Chiefs for that one spot. So a lot on the line here. Hopefully things can get going here. Hopefully everything's okay. Still cutting away here. I just worries me. I hope something's okay. I saw Josh was sitting there talking to Joe, so hopefully everything's all right, man. They cut into break. Scary situation. Scary situation. But other than that, there was quite a few good bowl games today as well. Started off with Mississippi State, Illinois there in Tampa Bay with the big old pirate ship in the background. Mississippi State had those badass looking helmets that had the big old pirate flag on them. Those look sweet. They end up winning the game, put a great game-winning drive together, kicked the field goal. They're up 13-10. Illinois has a crazy attempt, 4 seconds left, trying to get the ball down, doing the laterals, doing everything they could. Somehow the ball ends up in Mississippi State's hands, and they end up scoring to close out the game. Mississippi State covers the spread. Wild way to end the game. It was just an awesome fashion. And it's kind of a shout out to Mike Leach. So that was really cool. Then LSU beat the dog piss out of Purdue. It really shows, in my opinion, Purdue, a team that had a great season this year. Charlie Jones opts out, Aiden O'Connell drops out. Aiden O'Connell obviously going to the draft. It really shows what having like a top 50, honestly, talented quarterback in the country can do for your team as a whole, and how good you can be and how bad you can be. Because if you have a top tier quarterback, things just move a lot simpler. Saw that for Penn State, Utah in the Rose Bowl here at the end of the game. Once Cam Rising went out, Utah fell apart. They have a top 20, top 30 tier quarterback in college football. And once you lose that, you're not as good. Having that talent definitely helps your team out a lot. Tulane also ended up winning the Cotton Bowl today. Came back a couple seconds left, got the win. It was exciting for them. Good to see for Tulane. Lincoln Riley, the defense still giving up tons of points, still not being able to tackle. Whatever. Hopefully they get that figured out before next year, because it's not working very well for them. A couple other crazy news stories here. Actor Jeremy Renner, most famous for Hawkeye. Really, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I know he's been in plenty of other stuff. Good actor. I guess he's in critical but stable condition because he got in a snowplow incident. I'm trying to envision how that would happen, and I just don't know what the fuck happened. I guess did he get ran over? Because if he did, that would be shitty. That would be really shitty. But who knows? Who knows? Edward Norton found out that he is his great grandmother, his 12th great grandmother is Pocahontas. Somewhere in that, it just has to feel racist, but it's not. So good for good for him, I guess. That's crazy that Edward Norton, a famous person, is Pocahontas. Seems like Illuminati for sure. It has to have some sort of ties to Illuminati. And then you talk about Illuminati. Jeffree Star over the weekend going off on Twitter saying the Illuminati was trying to get her. She was gonna out them. All this bunch of shit. If only we knew what they were doing to Kanye and Britney. All sorts of stuff. Saying she had some info on them. Just wild and crazy stuff. And who knows? Probably true. Illuminati's probably real. The Hollywood elite, they're probably all but a part of it. Everyone knows that. It's just common knowledge. If you don't know that, then you live under a rock like Patrick Star and you're dumber than a fucking rock. Point blank, period. If you don't know that, then I don't know. Get on the train with it. But other than that, there was only one other funny little tidbit of news I saw. Starting on January 1st, in the state of Missouri, you cannot be caught sleeping on any state-owned property. It'll be a $750 fine and 15 days in jail. So basically trying to get rid of the homeless population by, like, if you're homeless and you get caught sleeping, you're going to get in jail, which could be good for them. Yeah, you might just get a bunch of fines, but jail time, at least you get 3 hots and a cot. That's all that matters, right? So could be good for them. I just fall asleep right in Main Street. Be like, oh no, gosh darn it. That's what I would do. That's a smart move. If you're homeless, if you're the homeless and you're seeing this or hearing this, that's the way to get you can make your life out of that. Get yourself back on track. Perfect way right there. Perfect way. But that's about all the news. Moving on though, got a good top 5 this week. I gotta drink a little bit of water here before I go off on this one. This week, I am doing my top 5 worst type of dudes. Just the absolute worst type of dudes. Everyone knows that these are the worst type of dudes. Guys know these, girls know it. It's just the worst type of dudes, right? Number 5, the dudes, the alcohol is their personality. Everything they do in their life, they're consistently drunk. They're pretty much a drunk. They function just barely enough, but their only real personality trait is alcohol, and they think that it is their personality trait. Every story starts off with, oh, I was shit hammered, They're just fucked up. They're usually always fucked up. Usually a little bit rapey too, it just kind of goes with drinking all the time. So that's my number 5 worst type of dude. Number 4 is the over-the-top women's right activists. Everyone knows that you're lying. Everyone knows you're trying too hard. No one likes to try hard, especially no one likes to try hard. No one likes to try hard. It's sad. It grosses everybody out, and that's what it just seems like to me. It's just you're trying too hard to, just please stop. Number 3, gotta be hot dudes. If you're just a random hot dude that just is out in the wild, it doesn't make sense. You're a horrible person. You should be an actor. You should be a model. You shouldn't be working construction. You should be working at Target. You should be doing some professional athlete. You should be doing something with your life, man. You can't just be a hot dude just walking around the world among the rest of us. It's just not fair. It's just not right. Think of the rest of us. Think of the rest of us, please, because you make all of us other men uncomfortable, because you know why? We look at you like, damn, if I was a girl, I'd probably hit that. So you make us uncomfortable. So if you're a hot dude, please just stop living in everyday life. It's not fair. It's disgusting that you're that kind of person would do that to the rest of us. Number 2, worst type of dude. Those 40-year-old, middle class husbands, they're a little bit fit, usually a little bit shorter, stockier build. They drive those big jacked up trucks, what everyone says about if you have a big truck, you have a little dick, all that stuff. They don't care about that, even though they know it's true deep down. They got their big truck, they own a boat, they have a decently nice house, quite a few kids, think they're just the toughest guy in town. But in reality, they're annoying, and nobody really likes them because they're so arrogant and they just walk around like they're so tough. But that like their 12-year-old son could probably beat them up. Just those arrogant prick, old 40-year-old white men that just, the ones that own a boat, usually it's pretty simple. You own a boat, just kind of goes hand in hand. You make $100,000 a year, you own a boat, you're kind of just a piece of shit. Just seems to work out that way. But hands down, my number 1 worst type of dude has to be the fake country dudes, man, especially the ones on TikTok, the ones that are always posting, I'll do all this for my woman, I'll make sure my woman stays home and homeschools our kid, basically trapping her in that house and making sure she never leaves. And then, they're like always like, oh yeah, me and my four buddies. I always see these ones. These ones are my favorite. Talk about me and my four buddies could take on anybody. And I'm like, bro, come on. You and your four buddies, like what? And they act like they're so tough and they do all this ranching stuff and their big tough cowboy hats. Those are the worst type of dudes. My favorite types of people. Absolutely. Well, they're not my favorite. They're my favorite to hate, I guess. The worst type, but also my favorite. So shout out fake country dudes. Appreciate you guys so much. Moving on now, after talking about horrible people that make my life way worse, talk about people that made my life better this weekend. College football playoff, TCU getting the job done against Michigan. I knew all year long Michigan was a bunch of frauds. I knew that they couldn't do it. I knew that they just weren't built to win a national title. I've been writing TCU all year. Once I saw the success they were having and started watching them play, I was like, this team is legit. Michigan hadn't played anyone this tough. They came out and they honestly got punched in the mouth on that first play. Then after that first play, it was basically TCU shut them down. Michigan does that stupid doy play. I don't know why you run like the Philly special when you're the number one, supposed to be the best rushing team in the country, and you have the opportunity to just go up 7-0 on the first drive, like not even 2-3 minutes into the game, and you decide to do that. Yeah, that's when I knew that the game was over, because I was like, Jim Harbaugh's retarded. He's not built. He's not built for the big games. He's just so stupid. TCU obviously gets that fourth down stop. Offense goes 3 and out, okay, and then boom, right there back. TCU's on defense. Okay, here we go, boom, pick six. Those 5 plays right there after that first big one really, really like changed the game ultimately. And I think from that point on, TCU was pretty much in the driver's seat. Shut down Michigan, got them on a 3 and out, go down, get 3 points. And then it was just kind of they were in control the whole game. Michigan would jump up every now and then. Then a big play would happen. Then another pick six. The fumble, that touchdown that probably was a touchdown. I could see why the refs called it at the 1 yard line, but that was ultimately a big deciding factor in the game. But from that point on, I think TCU was pretty much in control the whole time. They ultimately, defense made plays when it had to. They got burned here and there, but when they did, the offense would go and put them up by more. They'd strike and get a score, make sure that they stayed up. So ultimately, TCU was in control that whole game, and without a doubt, in my opinion, deserved every right to be there. And I think they have a legit shot to beat Georgia. And for Michigan, I don't know what's wrong with them. I think they're built to compete in the Big Ten. They're built to beat Ohio State, but they're not built to really compete at this top tier level. I mean, yeah, they are built on running the ball, and outside 2 big runs by J.J. McCarthy and that first one by Donovan Edwards, they got stuffed in the run game. They were forced to pass the ball, and J.J. McCarthy's not the best passer. Everyone knows that. I mean, had 2 interceptions, It's just not the best day overall for him, forcing him to throw. He didn't disappoint, but he didn't have to make too many crazy throws, in my opinion. So ultimately, Michigan, I think they need to open up the playbook a little bit more. They need to get more efficient with the passing game and the running game, find a better balance, and, be able to defend the pass a little bit better on defense as well. But on the other hand, Ohio State, they performed very well for the Big Ten this weekend. Obviously you look at the box score and you don't really look at it and think, how did Ohio State lose this game? Downright, it was a good performance, in my opinion, by Ohio State. They lost a yardage battle, but on defense, it was very average, or not average. It was very similar on both sides of the ball for both teams. Same amount of pass yards, about same amount of rush yards. Georgia outgained them a little bit here, there. But other than that, I mean, it was a good game. Ohio State didn't turn the ball over. C.J. Stroud was running the ball when he could. He had 4 touchdown passes. He had like 340-some yards. The run game was decent. It wasn't great. It never really has been for Ohio State. Defense, I mean, they caused a turnover. They played when they had to. It just came down to they didn't score when they needed to, and then the horrible field goal, man. I saw that kick, and I was like, that had to have been blocked, right? That had to have been tipped or something. There's no way he missed that bad. No, he just missed that bad. That's a horrible way to end the game, but that's just how it goes, I guess. And Ohio State legit had a chance to win that game, had a chance. I think they should have pushed the ball more on offense, tried to score, but they didn't. I don't know. I think it was a good performance. I think that Georgia is beatable. I think Ohio State did an awesome game plan. I think TCU is better than Ohio State. I think TCU can get the job done. We saw against Michigan, the defense played phenomenal. Everyone said, that Michigan was to jam the ball down their throats. They didn't do that. Georgia's a pretty heavy run team as well. That they can step up and play the same results. I'm rocking TCU money line. I'm tweeting it out every day until it happens, until the big day. TCU money line, TCU money line, TCU money line, because I'm already calling it right now. TCU's gonna win the national title, and if they do, holy shit, chaos in the streets, man. It would be unfucking real if they did. College football would be wide open, wide open. As far as college basketball recap, I was pretty much wrong about everything I said about the weekend. North Carolina got upset by Pitt. That one was a pretty good game. North Carolina was leading for the most part up until the second half. Pitt kind of just snuck in there and took it away. Notre Dame didn't show up at all. Miami beat the ever-living dog piss out of them. What else? Xavier, they pulled the upset against UConn. That one hurt me the most. What else was there? Oh, Texas Tech. They were in control for most of the game against TCU. Then down the stretch, they just fell apart and they lost it. That one hurt me the most because I'm always rocking Texas Tech. And then Arizona State money line. Or not money line. Over under. That one did not hit. So I pretty much everything was just dog shit. It did not go my way. I was feeling so hot when it came to college basketball. Now I'm like, holy cow, I suck again. But hey, we rock on, right? But plenty college basketball this week. I only narrowed each night down to 3 games because quite a few of these nights had quite a bit of games. I didn't want to over ramble, didn't want to really do too much research. I didn't really necessarily have the time, so I didn't want to give out a bad product. So only 3 per night. Tuesday night, tonight, because you're listening to this Tuesday morning. Tonight, when you're bored, wanting to watch some college basketball, Kansas Texas Tech is gonna be happening. This should be a really good game. Jalen Wilson's been dominating. Kansas has been dominating. I think they've only lost 1 game up to this point in the season. Texas Tech just had that bad loss against TCU, where, like I said, they were in control for most of the game. So huge bounce back opportunity for them, back at home. You have a top 5 team coming into town. You want to be competitive. You're pissed off because you lost, because you're winning most of that game. And, as long as Kevin O'Banner's at Texas Tech and they're playing defense, I'm rocking Texas Tech. So the line wasn't out yet when I looked this up. Or was it? No, yeah, the line wasn't out yet when I was doing my research for this. So no matter what, I'm going to go Texas Tech money line. Point blank period. I gotta have it. I need it. It's in my, like I said, Kevin O'Banner, and they're playing defense. Texas Tech. Mississippi State, Tennessee. Mississippi State, 2-game losing streak right now. Tennessee is probably not the team you want to play when you're trying to get out of a little bit of slump. I think Tennessee is going to win this one pretty easily. I think Mississippi State will be competitive, but I feel like they're kind of on the downhill turn right now. Kind of going to be getting in their own heads. I expect the line to kind of be around 5 or something. I'm taking Tennessee anywhere from -7 and below is what I'm taking them at. Just seems right. Just seems easy. Kansas State, Texas. Kansas State coming into town with only 1 loss on the season and a couple marquee wins, really. And they do have a trio of guys that can score a lot of points. 3 different guys have scored 20, or I think it's actually 4 guys have scored 20. 3 are like their top tier scorers. 1 guy was kind of a fluke game, but still he scored 20 points. But Texas, they're a top 10 team offensively right now. They're a fringe top 10 defensively, playing really, really good football, or playing really, really good basketball. Sorry, they're playing a commercial about football, and I was staring at it and talking at the same time. But they're playing really good basketball. I think the Longhorns will win this one pretty easily. I'm saying by at least 6. That's kind of the number I'm looking at for the spread. Around 6 feels good. 8 at the most probably is what I would take. But I'm feeling pretty confident in Kansas on that one. Wednesday night, also quite a few big time games. UConn, Providence, UConn obviously fresh off their loss to Xavier over the weekend. Disappointing. Playing Providence. Providence has been all right to start the season. I just feel like this is just a big bounce back spot for UConn. I think they're going to be a little pissed off they finally lost the game. That kind of will inspire teams, but also takes a load off teams and they can perform a lot better. So for me, I really like that. I think UConn could win this game by 10, honestly. So if the spread's anywhere 10 and below, definitely take it. Any higher than 10, wouldn't risk it, but I'm very confident UConn's going to have a huge bounce back spot in this game. Missouri, Arkansas. Missouri's only got one loss, fresh off their big upset against Kentucky last week. Arkansas, 13th in the country, just fresh off their big loss to LSU last week. Both these teams kind of in different spots. Missouri trending up, Arkansas kind of going down a little bit. But to me, Arkansas is just a different animal. They're back at home. They're upset. They fresh off a loss. Eric Musselman's a top 10 coach in the country, in my opinion. I think he gets his team right back to where they need to be. I'm going to be rocking on Arkansas side. I'm expecting to be the spread about 5. So anywhere below 5 is money. Take that for sure. TCU, Baylor. TCU obviously fresh off of their big, another win against Texas Tech over the weekend. I think this game kind of comes down to what Mike Miles can do. Because Baylor, they're okay offensively. TCU is really good defensively. Baylor's not the best defensively, so if TCU can keep it close and Mike Miles can get going, I think that TCU wins this game pretty easily. I could see the over even hitting at this one as long as it's a little lower around the 140 range. 140 or below probably. Thursday to close out the week, 3 more pretty jam-packed games that should be pretty good here. Purdue, Ohio State. Does the number 1 team in the country fall right here? I'm kind of leaning towards Ohio State money line on this one. It just feels like that time in the year. UConn lost, New Mexico. The only other team that hasn't lost yet. They're playing pretty good. Ohio State hasn't played yet this week. Purdue is playing tonight, I believe. So I think that gives them kind of a disadvantage. Going to be a little bit tired traveling into Ohio State. All the students are more than likely back. Everyone's a little upset about losing the college football playoff, but then you get everyone back and they're like, okay, we got basketball to root for now. Okay, who's coming? Number 1 team. Crowd's going to be there, I feel like. So I'm going to go Ohio State money line probably on Thursday night. Indiana, Iowa, battle of the bigs here. Tracy Jackson Davis, Chris Murray, both these guys can score like crazy. I'm really liking the over here. I think the max I'm taking it at is probably about 142. That feels right. I feel like this is a 75 type ball game. But other than that, it gets risky to me because both these teams, if no one else is scoring, no one else is helping contribute to the load, those two guys can't do it by themselves, but I have a feeling they're going to be going back and forth. So that, to me, really intrigues me to take the over on that one. As long as that's at like the 142 range. Gonzaga, San Francisco. Not too much to say about this one. It just intrigues me. I see this going so many different ways, possibly. Gonzaga blowing them out. San Francisco possibly doing a blowout. Close Gonzaga win, close San Francisco win. Tons of points, no points at all. One team scoring a lot, one team not scoring. I just see it going so many different ways. The game is at San Francisco. San Francisco, they've been playing good basketball as of late. They are a good team. Gonzaga is tough. So we'll see what happens here. I just don't know which way to go as far as gambling-wise. I'm just excited to watch it, and I think it should be a game you should definitely check out. But that's all for college basketball this week. Finishing out the show here, just a couple NFL thoughts, as we're kind of dwindling down. Still no news here what's going on with the Bills-Bengals game. Hopefully they get figured out. Hopefully they get the chance to play. Hopefully everything's all right with Darwin Hamlin. So, sad deal. But the Commanders decided to go with Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback this weekend, and it pretty much was their ultimate demise of their playoff hopes. They lost, obviously, and then after the game, Ron Rivera had an all-time quote when asked that he knew, a reporter asked him if he knew that if the Vikings were to lose today, that they would ultimately be eliminated from the playoffs. He said no, he did not know that, and he also looked pretty terrified when he said this in his face. He looked pretty scared. Ultimately, that ended up happening. They're now out of the playoffs. Buccaneers locked up a playoff spot. I feel like they're definitely going to be the team. They're going to pull off the upset. They're not the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Buccaneers. I feel like the Bucs will probably rest all their starters this week, get all their good guys a little bit of rest before the game next week. So in turn, I just feel like the Buccaneers are definitely the team you don't want to play for the 4th seed. Whether if the Cowboys pull something crazy off and steal the division, the Eagles got to play them. I think the Bucs could even beat the Eagles. It's leaning Cowboys right now, but you don't want that. And the AFC is still up for grabs, still a couple spots there. It's coming down to Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers. Also, Jaguars and Titans. Titans will play on Saturday for the division. Winner is ultimately in. But I don't know what happens if, say, the Titans win. And Jaguars would still be sitting there at 8-9. And then if the Patriots, Dolphins, and Steelers all lost, and we're 8, 9, and 12. So something crazy could happen there. That is definitely a real possibility. Don't know who's gonna win, who's gonna take that 7 spot. I really don't. I want to lean towards the Dolphins because they're playing the Jets, but you never know. You never know. You never do know. Giants clinch the playoff spot though. Lock theirs up as well, only leaving 1 spot left out in the NFC, battling for the Seahawks, Lions, and Packers. Every single one of them won this weekend. Lions and Packers will play on Sunday Night Football. Seahawks win. They're not ultimately in. Seahawks win and Lions win. Seahawks are in. Lions need the Seahawks to lose. Packers win. Packers are in. Lions would need to win. And obviously, Seahawks lose. So, Seahawks also get in if Packers lose. Well, that's the same if the Lions win. Whatever. But that's kind of ultimately what's happening there. But that's about it. It's about all I got for to say today. Hope you have a happy new year. I'm hoping to hit some new goals, hoping to hit some new subscribers, hoping to grow my show, hoping to grow my podcast. So please, if you could help me out by doing that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Send to friends, send to family members. Tell them to come check me out. Whatever you can do to help me out would be greatly appreciated. I hope you have a great new year. Other than that, for now, your boy Titties is out.